The king's palace. The arrival of Princess Azurine and of Prince Bel-Azor. The king announces to the company the betrothal of the princess, his daughter, with the young prince. The fairy godmothers bring their gifts. The fairy Aurora gives the princess beauty and bestows a magic flower to guard her from evil. Everybody is rejoicing when suddenly enters the witch whom the king has forgotten to invite. In spite of the excuses of the prince, the old witch declares that she will avenge herself. The Princess Azurine, still suffering from the excitement, enters her boudoir to take a rest. The princess gets into a bed in the shape of a shell and supported by cupids, and soon falls to sleep. Suddenly, the witch appears. She pulls the magic flower from the prince's hand and tears it to bits. Then the old witch summons several demons, whom she orders to seize the princess and to bind her. The witch then orders a chariot drawn by fantastical animals. In spite of her cries, the princess is fastened into the car. Hardly have they gone when Prince Bel-Azor, awakened by the cries, rushes in and struggles with the demons who vanish into smoke. The people of the castle ascend to the upper platform. Suddenly, they perceive in the heavens the fantastical cortege bearing away the weeping princess. The prince sickens at the sight, but encouraged by the lords about him, vows he will again find his fiancée. The people in the palace descend in haste to the armory. They fall upon the weapons of war and quickly transform themselves into warriors, armed from head to foot. Following after his comrades, Prince Bel-Azor is stopped by the witch. Laughing at his preparation, she announces that they are useless. She gestures, and immediately one side of the armory fades into an inaccessible rock. On its summit, a tower with not a single door or window. The prince sees the demons draw near to the tower, dragging the chariot of fire. He darts forward, but the vision fades away and he falls against the wall of the armory. Fortunately, the good fairy Aurora appears and frees the prince. She announces that she will protect him and then summons the genius of invulnerability, who enters in the form of a lame and deformed dwarf. The genius presents an impenetrable armor which renders its owner invulnerable, and likewise a magic helmet and sword, both endowed with marvelous powers. The docks of a port on the ocean. The sailors of the Royal Navy are making final preparations before weighing anchor. The prince and his suite hasten aboard the galley, for Aurora has told the prince that the princess is shut up in the tower in the midst of the ocean. The mighty ship majestically moves away. Hardly has it gone when the witch appears upon the dock. She laughs fiendishly and sets loose the elements upon the royal galley. The waves swell with rage, the sky becomes threatening, the galley rolls and pitches along the billows. The storm bursts forth with fury. Suddenly, the galley strikes upon an enormous rock which emerges from the midst of the billows, and the ship founders disappear in a vortex of foam. Some water nymphs, attendants at the court of Neptune, visit the remain of the wreck so as to support to their lord, the god of the sea. The fairy of the waters, urged by Aurora, come to their aid. Prince Belazor, the chamberlain, and the majordomo, still dazed, follow with great difficulty through the liquid element. They penetrate superb marine grottos peopled with living fish. The fairy is leading the prince to the court of Neptune, and as the journey will be long and difficult, she gives the prince and his suite a means of transportation. The submarine algae, flowers, and coral gradually settle beneath the ocean bed and reveal an azure grotto of dazzling beauty. The grotto gradually fades away and discloses Neptune seated upon his throne. Prince Belazar arrives, accompanied by the fairy and escorted by large lobsters, Neptune's guards. The prince begs Neptune to have pity on him and permit him to return to the land and the open air. Touched by the misfortune of the young prince, Neptune orders to advance the maritime omnibus, a whale of natural proportions. Neptune tells them not to hesitate, so they permit themselves to be swallowed one by one without protest. As soon as the whale has disappeared, the prince and his retinue spy the inaccessible rock and the tower in which the princess is imprisoned. It is isolated in the ocean and they do not know how to reach it. Luckily, Aurora reappears, showing him the entrance to a subterranean passage which leads almost up to the bewitched tower. Alas, sea still separates the prince from his beloved. He suggests a leap into the waves and a short swim. Nothing daunted, the prince plunges into the water headfirst. The witch, maddened from rage, would have followed the prince had Aurora not fortunately intervened. After a hard struggle, the prince swims to the foot of the longed-for rock. The witch, exasperated beyond measure, orders two demons to burn the castle. The prince descends the stairs, bearing in his arms the princess in a faint. The prince, having made his way across the narrow strait with the princess in his arms, reaches the shore. The witch appears and tries to avenge herself by throwing the prince into the sea. But Aurora frustrates her vain efforts by shutting up in a cask the old witch and throwing her into the ocean. Below the cliff, among the rocks, the witch finally disappears. Upon the terrace of the palace, the vassals, noblemen, and other personages of court are assembled. The king in royal robes, the queen and the princess await upon a balcony the solemn entry of Belazor and Azurine. The crowd shout forth their delight.